Although the main focus of tax reform is now on the Ways and Means Committee in the House, the Senate is working on their own version of tax legislation. One America's John Hines has that story from Washington.
As the tax writing Ways and Means Committee labors to produce the House tax plan, members of the Trump administration joined taxpayer advocates and GOP senators gathering in the Capitol to tout the Senate's version of tax reform.
Just got out of the Finance Committee, putting final touches on the chairman's mark. It'll be introduced on Thursday. We'll go through amendments in committee all next week, starting Monday, until we're done. And I'm going to anticipate that we'll probably have 100 amendments from the other side, and we'll get a bill down to the floor and do what the president wants us to do.
Starting on Monday and going until they are done, says Senate Finance Committee member Dean Heller of Nevada. And another senator who was also on hand was North Carolina's Tom Tillis, who predicts little change from the House version. How might it change in the Senate, do you think?
Well, I think that I'm not going to get into specifics because I believe that a lot of that baseline bill you'll see in the Senate bill. I think the House did a great job, and I think that we need to build on it. We don't need something that's substantially different, but we do need something on the president's desk as soon as possible.
Not too different, says Tillis, but Texas Senator Ted Cruz has in mind one particular provision not yet in the House bill.
And I'm going to press hard for real tax cuts for every American, and the best way to do that, given where we are right now, is to repeal the IRS penalty, the individual mandate, because that provides immediate tax relief to 6.5 million Americans who are getting fined by the IRS because they can't afford health care. But it also allows for cutting taxes for everyone. It's a win-win.
Meanwhile, Grover Norquist of Americans for Tax Reform thinks there's quite a bit of overlap with the House version, which should grease the path for approval.
We had quite a number of Republican senators speaking to the legislation, both that the House is about to enact and that the Senate is looking to release in a matter of days. So before this week is out, we should have a Senate bill and a House bill that's probably been finished. I know from talking to people there's a great deal of agreement, a great deal of overlap.
Norquist adds that despite the current negotiations, tax reform has actually been ongoing for about 3 years now, which should make an end-of-the-year deadline easier to meet. John Hines, One American News, Washington.